convertible, a ragtop Mustang, a '59 Cadillac. These were the country club classics that drove the post-war American dream. But for the average working Joe, reality came in the shape of the Tri-Chevy.
Well, and now you got me started, don't you leave me broken hearted, 'cause I love you too much.
In 1954, General Motors was the biggest car maker in the world, and Chevrolet was the meat and potatoes range. But for 55, Mr. and Mrs. Middle America were about to experience a revolution. You know, they say that the only part of a 54 Chevy that'll fit a 55 like this one are the interior door handles. Here was an entirely new automobile, the first modern mass-produced American car. It looked like nothing else on the road, rakish and rocket-esque. This was the 50s, the jet age. And just in case you didn't get where the stylists were coming from, they stuck a great big silver bird on the front. Subtlety? They couldn't even spell it. Make no mistake, the all-new 55 Chevy was a big, brave gamble by fuddy-duddy old General Motors. They were abandoning best-selling virtues like dependability and reliability and staking everything on style and performance.
Well, the 55 had more horsepower than anything before it, was relatively inexpensive. It was a $2,500 car. So back then, the 55 Chevy, and in turn the 56 and 57 and later cars, really satisfied a hunger of Americans for a performance car.
And America had one hell of an appetite. 1955 was GM's best ever year. They sold 1.7 million Chevys, and no one in the car business had ever shifted that much metal before. Ford and Chrysler were left standing at the stoplight while the boys with the bow tie burnt some rubber. But the best was yet to come. Don't just look at it, drive it, said the sales pitch for the 57 Chevys. But the cars were undoubtedly a sight to behold. And the best looking of the bunch was this beauty, the two-door Bel Air Sports Coupe. The 57s were styled lower, so they'd look longer. And the whole car was kind of canted forward to give the impression it was running 100 on the interstate when it was sat still in the drive-in. But undoubtedly the distinguishing feature of the 57s was this piece of ribbed aluminium, which probably cost about $1, but looked like $1 million. Buyers who were lured by the looks were convinced by the car's get up and go. However, Chevy dealers soon had to get used to coping with calls from irate customers. Not because they didn't like the car, but because they couldn't work out where to put the gas. Can you guess? Well, it's in there. I believe the expression is neat.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up.
Sweet, smooth and sassy. That was Chevy's slogan for 57. And they weren't just whistling Dixie, if you know what I'm saying. The sheer choice available to the customer was bewildering. There were no less than 4 different ways of shifting gears and 4 engine options. At the bottom of the range, a mild 140 horsepower Blue Flame 6. And at the top, a mighty 283 horsepower Super Turbo Fire V8 with ramjet fuel injection and triple turbine turbo glide transmission. I think the guys in the ad department might have been eating just a bit too much raw red meat about that time. There were 28 different colour combinations for the outside, including this livid Matador red on the Bel Air. And there were 4 different kinds of interior, which I think you'll agree is very earthy kit. Just about the only thing that wasn't an option are the furry dice. On a 57 Chevy, they're compulsory.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have.
5 million. They sold 5 million Chevys in 3 years. And maybe that's why so many were simply thrown away. But today, an enormous industry is dedicated to restoring this 50s original. But the big business is in reproduction parts. Classic Chevy take up to 1,000 phone calls a day, process 400,000 orders a year. And that means a business worth $3 to $4 million a month. Now that is big. In fact, if I started taking parts off the shelves back there, by the time I get to here, I could have built myself a classic Chevy. The 57 Chevy isn't perfect, but then neither were Elvis, JFK or Marilyn. And America has the same enduring love for this car that it has for them. You see, here, you don't get to become an idol until you've proved you're only too human.
Well, we're gonna rock all our blues away.